Welcome back to the post show, episode 107. This feels so different. I don't know why, but it feels different. We played around with the format today, and I gotta say, I had an absolute blast. A little bit less prescribed, a little bit more fluid, goopy. You know what I'm saying? You'll see. Well, you'll hear. Okay, what did we cover? We talked the Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 finale, Frieren. We dissected the Golden Globes and had a lot to say about that and just current events and current movies and all that fun stuff. And then we talked a bunch of fun, what's in the news, what's happening lately type stuff. The Civil War movie trailer by Alex Garland, Jack Reacher, some shows that are going to be released and have been renewed, Tom Cruise's new deal with Warner Brothers, and then we got back to anime, briefly mentioned Pluto, and we both watched the Solo Leveling pilot, so we talked about that. And then one of our top fans sent in their top 5 anime of 2023, so we go over that. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the show. Oh, hey there, Grant.
Hey, dude.
How you doing, fella?
I'm good. Post Christmas, we're now far enough away from Christmas I can breathe again.
Yeah, you got the tree put away?
Oh yeah, within days.
Yeah? Do you put up lights? Did you do anything of
that? Actually, you know what? Yeah, no. Like outside?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You're not climbing the
One
ladder,
day.
risking life and limb.
No, I do. Yeah. Anyways, but do that too often.
Good point.
Yeah, I have no time. I don't want to be in ladders on my own personal time. No. I grew up with them. My dad always did it, and it's just never.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm scared of like the peak of my. I know how I would want to do it.
You're scared of what?
I think the shape of my home.
Oh, like the literal peak.
Yeah, I'm worried. Not worried. I'm not afraid of heights. Because again, I'm very comfortable with ladders, which is debatable, not safe on your free time. But I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe one day. It's never high on my priority. But we do inside tree and all that.
Yeah, we do. The last 2 years, I think we've done we do the tree, but with Hanukkah colors. So blue and silver. And it's
I like your tree. Yeah, you guys sent us a photo. A day or two before Christmas. Really liked your
a little Christmas setup. But I think, if we get some more space, we'll maybe do a little bit more. But I'm not comfortable with ladders. And also, I don't know, the return on investment, not literally, but I'm thinking about how much I would enjoy Christmas decorations outside, assuming I had a house, versus the pain of putting them up. I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a generational thing. It definitely feels like it's a generational thing. Or maybe it's a city thing versus small town thing, actually. I'm wondering...
kind of phasing out from generation to generation?
Yeah, I'm, in my mind, I'm thinking about, think about our parents growing up, going down your childhood home, or your childhood street, and, how many families had Christmas decorations up, versus, when we have, going down those streets now... The percentage of people within our age range, is there a drastic, diminishment in how many people are decorating their homes with Christmas lights?
I'm not an expert, and this is a number that just popped into my head, but it feels like driving around, it's 40% less lights than when we were kids.
Yeah, I just feel like driving down my street as a kid was oh, what do you think the so-and-sos are doing this year for Christmas?
Yeah.
And again, it's different with the real estate market, and also we're at the age where not everybody has a family, but many people are starting families. Yeah. So maybe that'll become more important as you're raising some rugrats, but I don't know. I don't look around my social group and I don't think many of these people are going to be putting up lights. You know what I mean? Definitely fewer, in the minority for sure.
Sure. I will say, you'll never catch me buying one of those fucking projector lights that people slap in the middle of the yard.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
I'll never stoop to that. There's corners to cut in homeownership. That is not one I'm willing to.
Either do it or don't. Don't buy a $10 Amazon thing and be look, we decorated. That doesn't count.
You know what? It's funny. Actually, Leanna's gonna listen to this. She's gonna tell me exactly why we don't put up lights. We have like one electrical outlet outside.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be super inconvenient to like get the run. Anyways, but yeah, Christmas. You know what? Next year, I'm gonna do it next year. Gonna make a plan, battle plan. They'll set up a little power strip. We'll figure it out.
Cut to post-show episode 159 when Grant's coming off a broken leg.
Wow, do not put that shit up. You take that evil juju out here.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, God.
You never know, dude.
Shall we talk about some anime?
Yeah. It's so... if you're joining us, this is kind of our first regular... If you're joining us, you've joined us. If you're hearing
Welcome live. We're at minute mark 4:45.
But if you're joining us for the first time, last week we did like our top 5 anime each of 2023. So I highly recommend you go and listen to that if you're curious as to what we've been watching last year. But we're gonna pick up with like what's still on air, what just finished. But like the big thing is we never got to talk about the finale of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Just because, like, how it ended was kind of in the middle of the holidays. Christmas. And then we had the top 5 episodes. So we have yet to discuss this. Okay. I'll start just by saying not necessarily related to the content. I love that this was 23 straight weeks.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no break. No.
Yeah. That's huge. And like, when, especially now, like, multiple cores are becoming more popular. And, we had to wait a long... Yeah, and we had to wait a long time for Season 2. It's like, I'm glad that we got it all. Yes, there was, controversy with the production schedule and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're not going to rehash all that, but...
Well, it did, again, I'm not going to rehash it, but like I think there was that 1 week where like it literally came down to like a 2-hour window of like whether it could like hit broadcast or not. So like potentially could have been a miss, but
we got like 6 straight months of Jujutsu Kaisen, which was pretty dope.
So crazy.
Looking back, we kind of looked back at the whole season on our the top 5 episode and kind of justified why it was on my list, and we kind of rehashed a lot of what happened in the season. So if you want more detail on that, again, check out that episode. But
good pod.
It was a good pod. But for now, let's just talk about the ending. This last episode is your spoiler warning, obviously. A lot happened. A lot of kind of master evil villain type plans were revealed. Yeah. I'll throw to you. Overall, how do you feel about it?
Really, it's, I guess just, it was not like it wasn't cliffhangery, thankfully, because like that could have been the case. There was a lot of, there's a lot of setup, and it was so much action and so much fast, the pace of it was so fast. There's a chance that when we got to the ending, it could have just been like, and stop and see it see it then. They did just enough of setting up what's to come, with the Yuta stuff, and the big line of like, I will kill Itadori Yuji and whatnot, and then the ending too, specifically of like kind of Yuji being alone and solo, the clap and the what does that mean? Like there's it's a lot of it reminded me of Demon Slayer in a lot of ways, like Jujutsu Kaisen. Like there's been so much time in between. Like those funny little moments, like the send-offs or the teasers, we don't get as much, right?
Yeah.
Like, we get it in the season and that's it. It's not like almost not the Demon Slayers year to year, but I don't know. There's just like fun little send-offs of like stuff to come, and it was good. It was a really good way to cap off a bit of a roller coaster of a season in many ways. But I thought it was great.
Yeah, me too. Overall, I liked it. Dense first half.
Yeah, it worked less for me, other than like the big stuff, like the idol, like the transfiguration stuff.
Yeah,
there. But
it's funny. We've talked about this before, but like, it feels like Jujutsu Kaisen's really big strength is also one of its biggest weaknesses, which is like just how deep the lore technique, the technique lore stuff goes when it clicks and like you read it carefully and often a couple times, right? It does make sense. And that's like the exciting part. Like when you get the ins and outs of like here's a great example. Mahito and Geto, air quotes on Geto, have had this conversation that, spanning multiple seasons at this point about like what is the true nature of the soul, how does it work, how does it relate to one's technique. And then there's like this great little mini revelation when, you know, Gojo kind of calls out to Geto or Suguru and the hand comes at the throat and you're like, oh wow, like he's still in there in a way. In a way, there's some residual left of the whatever.
The fibers of his being.
Exactly.
You know, separate from the soul. Yeah.
And, you know, Suguru takes that opportunity to be like, oh, see, Mahito, like, you had to be wrong. Like, see what I'm talking about? This is crazy. Yeah. And then Mahito has this whole line of like, well, maybe every technique has its own worldview. Like, maybe the rules only apply to you in a way that they don't apply to me. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting, and that's like worthy of a whole conversation. I think the problem is I'm semi-confident most people don't pick that up because it happens so fast and it's so dense. And like and especially this episode, like the first half of this episode about like I don't think most people can tell you roughly how many people were activated, how were they activated, what are we talking about, 2 different types of people that he altered. Like, I get it now, but it's like upon rewatch and dissection and like when they reveal shit, it's so dense, and the translation doesn't help either, right? Like the fact that it's all being said in a second language.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to take like hopefully Crunchyroll gets me there with this one.
Yeah,
you know? Like hopefully you know like they're translators, but it's funny. You know, I never thought of it before, but you know, Jujutsu Kaisen, like it's loud and it's like an action, like you know, it's like. You know, it's like, you know, not rock and roll, but like when you think about it and like how dense the show, it's kind of like a prog rock kind of show. Like there's just like there's all the stuff up front that is obvious to catch and it's there, but like if you really sit with it, like there's just so much more you can dive into, messy or not. But it's so funny. Like over the years, like you said, like the Mahito and you know the fake Geto, whatever. It's just like it's so interesting. We see these moments of like. Oh yeah, they're talking again. Like there's this dialogue, and then you kind of get to the end, and even before like the you know in quote the betrayal, you know we're kind of he sucks them out. Well, clearly Mahito's lost, so he's going anyways. But,
yeah.
It was just interesting like to look back of like oh yeah like there's something there, you know. We always knew, but like to kind of see it like kind of fruition, like whether you know Mahito's been being played the whole time, which it's hard to say because he had such a presence and
it feels.
But
it feels like he might have been. So. To avoid confusion, in my notes, and I know this isn't going to be, and I bet like manga people have the answer, but the guy inhabiting Geto's body, initially Choso says his name is Kamo Noritoshi, right? And then he responds, oh, it's just really one of the many names that I've had. So like, we get
around a minute.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, and, you know, he has marked, quote, like thousands of people. Clearly, one of the big bombs that was also dropped was Megumi's sister is one of the people that he's marked. And he kind of says, if we break this down a little bit, that he's marked 2 types of people, right? And one type is the type of person who can ingest like a cursed object. And that's just like Itadori, for example. And the second type of person is
kind of grooms them, or like kind of opens up their potential further.
Yeah. To be able to control or utilize cursed energy, which Itadori has been able to since ingesting the finger. And the second type of person is how Mahito kind of turned, or probably not Mahito, probably Kamo, altered Junpei's brain to be able to just shift from regular human to being able to use cursed technique.
From what I understood it was like the people who can ingest, or can hold cursed over time. It can build a resistance which can eventually be turned into something. But the other one is people who 100% have cursed energy but have no means to use it.
Yes.
So I think that's what Junpei was. Like he 100% had cursed energy. Just again, that's where Mahito kind of played around and kind of turned it on a little bit, but.
Yes, so...
Probably open, it wasn't like the whole pipe there, just open a little bit.
Right, because you're right. So, because to clarify, Kamo Noritoshi, all he did was mark them. It was Mahito's idol transfiguration that actually changed them.
Yes.
So, and he activated it remotely after he ingested Mahito, which makes sense. So, I guess... and so he's supposedly done this to like 1,000 or thousands of people over time. So I think like the TLDR, like if you come away from the finale with a couple of things, it's Jujutsu Kaisen is in pandemonium mode.
Yeah.
Cursed energy and spirits are everywhere, and cursed users have just also like exploded. Like the population of cursed users have exploded.
Maybe it's kind of jumping a little bit, but it is, I was a little bummed, when they announced, like, the day of the finale, like, they already had the name of, like, the culling arc.
Yeah, same.
Coming. But as you watch it, and then you find out, like, everything that has happened, and you hear what it's called, like, oh, like, that's very on brand. Like, the next step is going to be at play here. Of, like, clearly, cursed energy and curses themselves, it's going to be run rampant more than, even Shibuya. But, yeah, I don't know. In hindsight, it's kind of cool they did that. You'd think they would wait, like, a couple days, let people sit with the finale. But again, like the hype is there. They got to jump on it. But
So I have several questions. And then we can move on. We won't spend like 40 minutes on Jujutsu, but...
Sure.
But it did leave me with a few. So we didn't really get resolution on this, but there is likely a link between Itadori and Choso. Is that fair?
I think it's 100% there's a link.
Right. And so, and for the listener, and maybe just some people need reminding, I certainly did, the pilot of the show is with Itadori and his grandfather, and it seems like his grandfather was going to reveal something about his parents, and then he's cut off, and then nothing is said, and we've never seen them in a flashback.
Yeah, never spoke about him, no. I think 100% Yuji is maybe a similar situation as Chozo.
So if that's the case, was Yuji... And I mean, before he even ingested the finger, like, the pilot of the show shows him running at super speed and, like, doing, like, everyday sports activities at, like, world-breaking levels. So, like, he's clearly not a regular guy. So I guess the question is, like, was he in some way manipulated or created by this Kamo Noritoshi guy? Because, if he's related to Choso and Choso comes from him, then yes, probably.
I don't think it's as simple as, like, maybe just in the process of, like, how they were created is the same.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, that's their link. Like, I don't think, may not necessarily be blood or anything, but maybe just residual curse energy or something like that it kind of picks up on. But, because when he says, like, Chozo only picks up on it when he goes for a killing blow.
Yeah.
It's like a feeling he gets. It's not like their blood came in contact and, you know, like, his blood powers aside, but it's not like it kind of, that triggered anything or whatever, but...
Though it's interesting because Choso kind of explained his, like, how he was, I don't want to say conceived, but, it was his mother, a cursed spirit that impregnated her, and Kamo Noritoshi's blood. He said, like, that the guy mixed his own blood, and so he's technically Choso's father in a weird way.
Yes, but just like that.
Yeah.
At the end,
I just wonder if he did the same thing.
So, I don't.
Not the exact same.
I don't think like Camo his blood would be in Yuji unless like he siphoned the blood out. I think like the brain is just like it's all, in quotations, right? Like this, the brain's just going from powerful, curse user to curse user. So he's probably repeated this process over however long with different bloodlines. He's mixed in everywhere. So I think maybe what matters is like the curse comes from him. Yeah. And then just the blood of whoever he is like in possession of at the time.
Yeah. But he's probably involved, which leads me to my second question. Do you think Yuji getting access to the finger was by accident? Like the initial eating Sukuna moment where he became a vessel, is that happenstance?
But there was a line, there was definitely a line in the finale, but there's a couple prior, or because before, like it might have been even last season or the beginning of this, before we get the reveal of Geto, like who Geto is, and Noshitori, but like he does not. It is interesting. Like he seems very like, I'm not worried about Sukuna. Like that's not a big deal. And like it's like that guy's like Joe. It's all like the words of Makoto is about saying like that guy's a bum, but like just the relaxed demeanor. The combination of like how Geto just looks and how like the brain is playing Geto. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Another thing that's noteworthy too is the white-haired girl with whose name I have a tough time with, Urame, with the ice power.
Oh yeah, I think so.
So she was helping Sukuna. They had a conversation on that meteor. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in the finale, she's helping Geto, or Kamo Noritoshi. So, like, are they in... Is she the messenger between the two? Are they in comms?
She could be playing, one side, or she's...
Yeah, like, what... Sukuna has said several times in season 2 that he has plans anyway. Like, he's got his own thing in the works. He seems to be working with that girl. I don't know. And then, as Kamo Noritoshi makes his getaway, he says something like, I hope you're listening, Sukuna. I expect big things from you. As he dips. And he says, can you feel it? He says, I want to get the quote properly. He says something about the Hein era is returning. And
so I think maybe that's just when they were running the show.
It is.
At the beginning of season 1, they mentioned that.
They did, and I dug it up, and it's the Hein era took place 1,000 years ago and is considered the golden age of Jujutsu, where Japan had numerous powerful sorcerers. This period was also where Sukuna reigned supreme at the height of his powers. So it's like, were they old buds, or were they opposing factions, or they just merely coexisted in the same time period where they were both quite happy with how things were going?
Or this guy was like playing second fiddle till Sukuna went goodbye, and then he kind of who knows? Like
a lot TBD.
My worry is a lot of big picture stuff were set up here. I think 100% the focus of next season is going to be like, as the name suggests, like, it's going to be like killing some some curses, and more people are going to die. But I think the bigger picture is just a little bit of a touch. This feels like at the end of season 2 of Demon Slayer, the Entertainment District arc, it kind of felt like, we can kind of see the finish line, but this still feels out of reach. We don't know how much further. Yeah, we had people saying like the manga's finished, and there's like so many chapters or whatever. But like by the end of season 3, we're like, I can see the finish line. Like 100%, I can see the finish line. But like again, there's a lot of stuff to go between. This feels very much like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, it feels like we have a long way to go, and I also think I've been fucking spoiled on some recent manga shit, which sucks.
It's so funny. I sent you that video.
Yeah.
I cannot. I'm so happy. Like you saw my
message right as there's like it's called a toast notification. Like the little preview of your message comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. I was halfway through it, and your message came in saying, "Oh shit, my bad." So I just backed out of it. I had every intent on watching the rest of the video.
It was for context. It was just an explanation of heavenly restrictions, because I feel like that was like the thing, our confusion. And it was like minor. Anyways, but I was like, maybe this guy has some like good explanations. And I clicked on one, and I was telling Leanna, I was like, I don't know why I couldn't look away. I was just staring at it, and I texted her. I was like, is any of this true?
Oh, right.
Like she was like, I cannot confirm or deny, and I'm like, no. So like, I think I had a huge spoiler.
Fuck.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay, we haven't mentioned that Yuta came back.
Oh boy.
We mentioned him, but like we didn't mention his return scene was pretty cool.
Very Neon Genesis.
I really loved the horror scene in that convenience store. Yes. The little girl. I was like, yo, like this is like old school jujutsu a little bit. I'm not complaining.
They should be doing more of. They should be doing more of this.
That was fucking tight. And also, this is like leads into one of the few questions I have remaining. Riko is with him.
Yeah.
Which she left at the end of the movie.
That was my reasoning too, or my thinking too. I was like, that seems there's something there. But
TBD.
Is her like resonant power still kicking around?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
It's funny that like he's like scolding her, like, that's not nice.
Yeah, that's enough, or that's too much or something. But
how about, I guess one last thing is how dark and out of nowhere was like the broadcast of like, like shoot on sight or kill on sight.
I love that.
For Yuji, and then even Geto in the box, like, if come in possession.
I have them written down here, and we can read them out in a quick sec, but I love when they do that. Like, they did that in season 1. They did it a lot in the movie, where they just cut to black with an announcement. Yeah. They all throughout the movie, they're like, special great operation Rika appears for the second time, and you're like, it's like a bulletin to the world. It's like this bit, and I was like, I fucking love when they do that, because it makes it feel very official. Like, this is the way we are governing things moving forward.
Mm-hmm. It seems like the people like telling, like, we have to tell people.
Yeah. So there are 4 decrees. One, Suguru Geto is alive, and his death penalty is reinstated.
Still stands.
Satoru Gojo has been branded a co-conspirator and exiled from the realm of sorcery. Unsealing him from the prison realm would be considered a criminal act punishable by death. 3, Tokyo Jujutsu principal. This was a random one.
Yeah,
the principal of Jujutsu High, Yaga Masamichi, is sentenced to death for inciting Suguru and Satoru in Shibuya. And for the suspended execution on Yuji Itadori has been lifted, and Yuta Okatsu is appointed as his executioner.
Damn.
And Yuta seems particularly peeved because, and apparently this is like a blink and you'll miss it moment, that Inumaki had one of his arms, or both, TBD, cut off in Shibuya, likely as part of Sukuna's domain.
I was reading that he there's like a line of like he missed it by like 1.2 meters or something like that, of like because he extended it to like 100 meters.
Yeah,
Sukuna's move, and Unamaki missed it, like he was within like the 1.2 meter range.
Yeah,
outside of it. And I thought that was a really cool little detail.
Yeah, so kind of makes sense that, like just casualties, right?
It is interesting, and not to be like, a spoil sport on like, not saying like the show is not like highbrow or anything, but like this reeks of like, Yuta, like Yuji, those are also Yuji's friends, and he probably feels bad about this, and like I know you hate him, and there's probably gonna be a lot of like, Yuta, stop, like Yuji's a good guy, like,
Yeah, and also...
And they're going to do their thing, and, friends, like, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm so glad to see him on screen, though, and that they aged him up a little bit.
His presence is fucking tight.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, if anyone should understand, like, being an occupational hazard because of the power that is inside of you, like, that's Yuta, or that was him, basically, forever.
Remember that kid that got stuffed into a locker in the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Very excited for season 3, or
I am too.
Or we were speculating if it'll be a movie or a season, but I guess we'll see.
I hope it's a season. Like movies are nice when they're spectacles, but like you don't, because we're talking about last week, like with like the Chainsaw Man movie coming up. Like again, I have context because I have read it, and maybe it'd be different if I had read Jujutsu Kaisen, but like I'm confident in that arc. Into a movie, it just makes perfect sense. It's a dead ringer for a movie, but like this sounds like big picture. So like, if that's just kind of jumbled into a movie, I don't want that. But I like when time is taken and we get the full thing, right? So
same here. I'm very curious to see what they do and when. Timeline is key, right?
Yeah, I think.
But yeah, it's probably gonna be a minute. But this was, I think, I would venture to say this was worth the wait. And excited for more. Okay, do you want to talk Frieren?
Let's do it.
Probably won't spend as much time on Frieren. What'd they take? 2 weeks off? Max?
1 week.
1 week off?
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. Like, what'd you say? This is also going to be like 23 episodes? 22?
24. I think it's
fucking 24. Awesome. Love it. Just never stop this.
Back in the golden age of anime here.
Yeah.
24 episode runs. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, good, wholesome, fun episode. I don't know what to say. What do you got?
Well, it was funny because, well, it was funny. I was pretty choked, but like, the previous episode, before the 1 week break.
Yeah.
There was the whole of like, oh, like Sign's leaving, like they're teeing him up, and you're like, no, like he's great, like he's dad, she's mom, like they're like, it was like a family, and you have the break and you come back, and I love like the bit of like, we'll wait out the snow, and then it's like, it's gonna last a month or whatever, and then they're all stuck together, and then oh my god, there's so many great bits in the episode, but when it came down to brass tacks, and he thinks about it and it's time to leave, and you see him walking away, and and I'm just like looking at Leanna, I'm like, he's gonna come back, right? He's gonna like call them out and say like, come with me guys, or like they're gonna say like, hey, let's go on your journey, but like it's not that. Nope. It's not some frivolous fantasy, start to take one, but like it's not like some like isekai where it's just like, oh, like here we go, we're on the event, and I just looked at Anna, and she's just like, that's life sometimes, and I was just like, yeah,
it is
very it really resonated with me when she said that. I was like, fuck.
It's so weird because it feels like, and of course in the moment I can't think of any examples, but it feels like animes try to do this. They try to make you not want a character to go and to be upset when they leave. You know what I mean? And I often don't feel it. I'm often sitting there instead in my own head being like, I know what they're trying to do, and I don't quite feel it. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? It's not, I don't feel it quite as strongly, I think, as they want me to. But in this moment, and it's such like, it's hard to do Frieren justice talking about it sometimes, because it really is a feeling, and you really do have to watch it. But it's like, this is kind of and when I say this, I don't mean in a negative way, but it is a bit of a mundane story plot. Especially if you write it down, right? If on paper, like, new character meets the trio, they grow close, and then he leaves, and it's sad. It's like, how do you make that engaging and actually make the viewer care? And it's like, I don't know, they put so much like TLC into these relationships, how they get along as a unit. Like you said, they assume these kind of mom and dad roles, and like, it altered the dynamic of the show while he was around, and then he's gone, and that's sad. It's not like break your fucking heart sad, but it's like, damn, I didn't want him to go. That was fun.
It's like real life sad. Like,
yeah,
like, it's something that like it is just happening. Like, it is a change, but it's not like your world's not crashing down. Like things just do happen, and I don't know. There's just something surreal about that. As you're watching, you're just kind of like, and I, like Leanna told me that last night. It was just like off the cuff. She's like, that's life, and I'm like, fuck, like people just leave sometimes. Like, not bad circumstances, and just people move on,
and not because they fell out or they had a falling out. Not like because he had
the thing I need to do.
He had to do a thing.
Want to do.
And the best part too is like, as much as you want him to stay, I think the audience knows, like, yeah, of course he should go.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of him going on this adventure is that he regretted not going to find his friend. Mm-hmm. Now that he knows where he is he supposed to be like, oh no, never mind. It's like, no, like, you got to go do your thing. And
they did a really good job of like, because like they're there for the month or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's the gag of, they're leaving soon, or he's in the bar drinking, because that's like his place or whatever, in the just one of the villagers we had met, the guy that had given him the cabin, I guess. And he's like leaving, and he's like, yeah, we are leaving, and he was like, now that I think about it, like, we haven't really done anything together. It's like also fitting, like, you're with these people, and like, I'm sure you're thinking about them, but like, you're just not always like doing all this stuff together at all times, and then you have that time to leave and all that. It's just, but there was I really like the scene with him and Frieren she comes into the tavern, the bar, and they're having a meal, and I was just telling you, like, how fucking sick would it be just to be like drinking beer and eating meat and cheeses in like a tavern?
Yeah, dude.
That, like, buddy's ripping smokes outside, but I don't know. It's just but there was a line of like, he's like, I think it starts about like him. I think he had just kind of had the spat between Fern and Stark. Of course, his line of like, just date already, which I loved.
Yeah.
But they kind of get talking, and he's like, they're kids, and da-da-da, and Free was just like, so are you.
Yeah.
And I think that was the moment he was like, oh shit, I gotta go get my buddy. I gotta go see my friend. And you could see the change after she said it. I was like, God, this show is just...
They never let an episode go by without reminding you that Frieren is both ancient and also still growing up. Like, there's this like weird paradox with like, because she observes time in such a different way, she seems to grow much slower and as everyone else. And it's beautiful too, because so much of it loops back to what she learned from Himmel in their time together, but clearly didn't quite wrap her head around it, and how important that relationship was to her in the moment, and now she has to like deal with the fallout of that. It's really sweet, and like this, like, I don't know, like, I just think that's really hard to pull off. And more often than not, it doesn't hit. It's cringy. You know what I mean?
Well, to add to that, I think it's incredibly hard to, in any medium, any story medium, it's hard to write like that wise character with making it so seamless. Like, they don't, like, either you underbake it or it's like way too much. It's just, it's like they're just like, it's just quotes and quotes and quotes. They do such a good job of like having a quiet moment with her.
Yeah.
And her just being like, Yeah, like, and it's very like as a matter of fact, but it's never preachy with her. Like, as the character, it's just kind of like it's more life experience and the situation at hand, and just melding it every time. I don't know. There's something very like warm and comforting about that.
Yeah, they weave it in really well.
She's like she is. That's the thing too. I would have said like in the first 3 episodes, she's a cold character, but like now there's just like an ethereal aloofness to her. You know, it's very very cool.
Even even like just that little detail of like, of course she learned how to take care of a sick person from Himmel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, of course, she had lived 1,000 years before then, and that hadn't come up.
Yes.
And also some, as usual, some beautiful imagery in this episode. The giant
tree.
It's only for a second, but yeah, the icicle cherry blossom tree, this giant snow turtle they encounter.
Yeah.
They find a way to make every episode fantastic.
Fun world, like, a little bit of world building as they go from area to area.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Do you want to talk about some award shows?
Yeah. Messy award shows, or
what's that?
Messy award shows?
Yeah. Okay. I'll start with the little one because the Emmys had their creative, the one they don't air.
Oh, for Under the Line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have the list in front of me, but I have 2 that I thought were noteworthy. Nick Offerman won his first Emmy for guest actor on a drama for his episode of Last of Us.
Best episode of the season.
Pretty fucking tight. And John Mulaney won for outstanding writing for a variety comedy special for Baby J, his Netflix special. So they do one. I forgot that they do this for the Emmys. They do kind of like a stand-up award, but it's like it's best writing for, and then like best performance of. It's kind of bullshit, and it should be on the main show. But Baby J is definitely a better special than what won at the Golden Globes, which was Ricky Gervais' Armageddon, which came out like right at the end of the year and barely qualified.
Oh yeah, I guess there's deadlines.
Yeah. So it came out like 3 weeks ago, and then it won.
Did you watch? I know you're not they have his stand-up. You're not the biggest fan, but did you watch that one?
Ricky's? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a tough time making it through. It took a few attempts. Because, like, there's a bit of a line you have to toe. It's like, you don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, that special sucked. It's like, oh, you watched it? It's like, oh, I got mad 5 minutes in, turned it off. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, sure.
But I was 10 minutes in being like, I'm really not digging this. But I want to be able to, like, have a take and, like, say I gave it a chance. So it's hard to be like, hey, don't be angry. Just, like, try and get what he's putting out there. And I think the problem with it, and this isn't like I'm not going to go in depth, but I think the problem with it is that by the time he did this show, I had seen, and I'm sincerely not exaggerating, at least 24 comics do the same material better. It's basically another comic and his take on why cancel culture is dumb. And it's like, Ricky, like we've been doing this, man. Like they've been doing this. People are moving on. People are tired about it. It gets a lot of clapter type shit, like, yeah, I should be able to joke about pronouns. It's like, shut up, man. Like, it's just so out of touch. It's, frankly, quite close to the Joe Coy performance that opened up the Golden Globes.
Ooh, segue. I love a segue.
Fucking nailed that one, dude. Which is to say, among, quote, real comics, neither of these guys have a ton of respect. Like, Ricky probably more than Joe Coy. Joe Coy is a big figure.
Yeah.
But
he's in movies, Dave.
But he's in movies. He must be a good comic, right? Like, that's how it fucking works. But it's like, and I don't want to shit on people that like Joe Coy, but what I will say is I bet you will have a hard time finding a good 5 minutes of Joe Coy comedy that is not funny jokes about his Asian family. Because that is most of his act. And if you can't work that into the gig, I think he's a bit of a one-trick pony. I just don't think he's like among the best comics working today. I will say in his defense, he allegedly had like 2 weeks to prepare. Which, for a lot of these, like Ricky Gervais, you sent me a clip of him hosting the Globes, which for the record, I think that is his best work.
Yeah.
I thought he absolutely crushed. I thought it was a breath of fresh air. I think they haven't had him back, or like for whatever reason, but like, kind of coming in and shitting on Hollywood, presenting, being funny. Maybe I think he probably went a touch too far at times, but like it was again a new angle.
That's his thing, yeah. Yeah,
and like he was doing his thing, and it was shocking that they either let him do it or that he got away with it. I don't know which one, but like he, what I've heard is that he had quite a bit of time to prepare, which you want. Like that is a big gig to get as a comic, and people that host SNL, people that have to perform like that kind of stand up in that kind of a with that amount of pressure on it, they tend to work those jokes for a long time. And 2 weeks doesn't sound like a lot of time. I don't know if it's any excuse to throw the writers under the bus. That was a pretty weak move.
I was going to say, was that on the live broadcast?
Yeah, it was.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a pretty, I can't handle the heat move. And like, not that I could, but he is supposed to be a professional comic. Bombing is a huge part of the gig. It often doesn't go well. And like how you handle it.
It's crazy. Like, yeah, like you're there, you are hosting. Like, again, it's not like, it's almost a one-to-one, like stand up and like hosting this, but like, it's not like it's a free, easy gig. But at the same time, it's like, just ride the fucking bike, Yeah. Like, just do the thing. And from what I've seen and heard, it's just kind of like, it
was very tough. But it's if there's any truth to him having 2 to 3 weeks to prepare, that seems very last minute. And Globes are in a weird space. It's like they've done years with no hosts, and that's kind of fine. And then I've heard that they've done this recently, where they got a last minute host maybe last year, or the year before, and they had similar issues where someone was like, I wish I had more time to prepare. And it's like, just either do it properly or don't do it. It's all too long anyway.
Well, this is the first year it's not run by the Hollywood Foreign Press, right?
Which
it's now owned by. Also, I found. Oh, I was listening to Big Picture and they were talking about it. It's owned by the same company that owns like Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and all these like Hollywood magazines. Which, again, it just seems like a little more inside of like what's already going on.
You gotta wonder, because I won't pretend to know a lot about that, but you gotta wonder the Globes under the Hollywood Foreign Press did have a pretty tough reputation in terms of like the awards being bought and paid for.
Yeah.
All that. I read that the new owners were, very involved in the industry, but I have to say I'm actually pretty pleased with the wins this year. The noms and the wins are like.
Sure. Well, do you have some of them in front of you? I didn't see much.
Yeah, I do. Oppenheimer had a huge really killed it. But they won Best Drama.
Oh.
They won Best Female Actor, Lily Gladstone.
Nice. Wow, that's deserved.
Awesome. They won Best Actor to Cillian Murphy and Best Supporting to Robert Downey Jr. They won Best Director for Christopher Nolan, which is his 7th nom and only win.
At the Golden Globes.
Yes. Which I just thought was interesting. Best film, because they're different than the Oscars, right? Or no, never mind. The Oscars does this too. They have drama and then they have musical or comedy in separate categories.
Yeah.
Musical or comedy, Poor Things won.
I want to see that so bad.
Best male actor in a film, musical or comedy, was Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers.
Oh.
Best TV series was Succession. Succession also cleaned up big.
Yeah. Oh, I did see Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, which is interesting that he was, because he had a much more central role, I think, in that last one. I think they had, 2 or 3 or 4... They had so many nominations for Succession this year. They won Best Female Actor as well. Sarah Snook took it.
Nice. Oh, yeah, she was great. Oh, she's always great.
Yeah, she kills it. Best TV series, musical or comedy, The Bear.
Yeah, a real funny show.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes when these things get put into... It's a little iffy.
It's category fraud. That's what it is. And it's just they're staying out of someone else's lane.
Is it the studio's responsibility to submit? Or the show's responsibility? Which is
It's the studio.
Yeah, because The Bear... You have to imagine... Yeah, think of it this way, right? The Bear went in musical or comedy. Here's who they went up against: Ted Lasso, Abbott Elementary, Jury Duty, Only Murders in the Building, and Barry. The only real big heavy hitter in my mind there is Barry, because I know Ted Lasso had a rough season.
Yeah, well.
But think about if they were in the category they probably should have been, which is drama. Here's who they would have went up against.
Got smoked.
1923, The Crown, The Diplomat, The Last of Us, The Morning Show, and Succession. They probably just would have lost most categories to Succession.
That's the thing, too. I think they're avoiding one show. And, you know, that's probably why they dumped Barry in comedy, because they can. Which, again, it is a very funny show. But the tone I think overrides it a bit. But.
Best limited TV series, anthology series, or TV movie, Beef cleaned up. They won Best Actor and Actress, or
nice.
Male actor and female actor.
Have you seen that?
No, but Steven Yeun is like his first win, apparently.
He's one of the new greats.
Yeah, apparently.
I love him.
Oppenheimer won Best Score. Ludwig Göransson. He did kill. Big upset on Best Animated Film, actually. Did you see this?
No, what one?
Everyone assumed, because the
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse, everybody assumed Spider-Verse. So it was that, Super Mario Bros., Suzumi, Wish, Elemental, and The Boy and the Heron. Any idea?
Miyazaki for sure.
The Boy and the Heron.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm missing a ton. The girl from The Bear, his co-host, Ayo Edibiri, sorry. His right-hand sous chef. She won for Best Female Actor in a TV Series.
She's good. I much prefer her screen time than his, to be honest.
Yeah. Ricky Gervais won for stand-up comedy. But, like, that whole category, in my opinion, was not great. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really major that we've left out. Best Supporting Male Actor, was Tom from Succession, Matthew McFadyen. Yeah. Absolutely killed it. Best Supporting Female Actor in TV Series was Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown.
I see the clips of Kieran Culkin and Nicholas Braun in the press room.
No.
Post Matthew McFadyen's
win,
post win, he's like in the press room or whatever, and the two of them like skulking in, like grabbing mics and like, is it true that you're 2 inches shorter than? There's like serious questions going on.
I gotta see that.
He's like, who is that? And then he clicks and you see this lumbering giant Nicholas Braun coming towards him.
He's so big, dude.
He's just like, okay, obviously, see what's going on here.
Did you see Kieran Culkin's acceptance speech?
No, I haven't.
Good. He starts off, that dude is his character on Succession, by the way.
He's a bird. Yeah. He was on Marin a couple years back, and it was just fascinating. It was wow.
Very interesting. But at one point, and I can't do a good impression of him, but he's saying something like, no, but it's nice, unexpected. I'm happy this happened. Suck it, Pedro. Mine. Because Pedro was nominated.
Okay.
And he goes, suck it, Pedro. I don't know. He said suck it, I don't know. I love that.
It's interesting because I've heard too, it's reported the Globes is kind of historically it's been everyone drinks.
Oh yes, yeah.
And it's very loose, so that's where kind of the most notable, photos and people together mingling and all that, and you get these sometimes reactions, whereas the Oscars is it's tight, it's tight-lipped and everyone's there to be prestigious, and
also historically they're a big indicator on who's going to win the Oscar. But
different voting body now.
But now it's a different voting body, so it's going to be very curious to see how much of this translates into the Oscars. I will also say, RDJ had a good acceptance speech. Big win for him.
He's a naturally gifted speaker.
He threw a little shade at the foreign press, or I think he said something towards the end of his speech about time for the Globes, about time there's a change. And it's funny, he was saying I like to thank my agents and managers who somehow said I needed to restart my career, and he was doing a whole bit about it. Because I think this was such a departure from Iron Man, right? To be fair, when you hear him speak in interviews and even in this, you're he's really not that far off from the Iron Man.
No, he was just showing up and read the lines as his personality.
His performance in Oppenheimer couldn't be more alien
Yeah.
To what we've seen him do on screen for the last decade.
Have you ever seen like any of the Shane Black stuff? You did, like the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Val Kilmer and
No, didn't Shane Black do one of the Iron Man movies?
Yeah, he wrote. I think
the third.
He wrote or directed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Why? What about him?
Well, like that's kind of like post like all of RDJ's like substance abuse, all that stuff, and him kind of coming back to Hollywood. Like Shane Black was like the one that kind of like, hey, like let's do this, and I think that was it was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, or am I mixing it with one of his other? Anyways, but like it's like he's like a con man, and Val Kilmer's like a private detective. And like it's awesome. It's like not quite the Iron Man thing, but it's just RDJ like still acting, and he's pretty good in Tropic Thunder too. But
oh my god, he's unbelievable. I will never hear a word against that. I mean, controversial, absolutely no doubt, but he does an amazing job. Christopher Nolan, nearly was almost choked up in his win. He started his speech by saying, the last time I was here, I was accepting an award on behalf of Heath Ledger.
Wow.
And I was nervous, and I'd locked eyes with, of all people, Robert Downey Jr. in the middle of the crowd, and here I am again. And it's. And kind of an interesting full circle moment, but glad he won. I'd love for him to win.
He's gonna clean house. In March.
I'd like him to take a director nom, but you know who, other than Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon didn't do great. Lily Gladstone seems like a fucking lock though.
Yeah,
on the Oscar.
I'm not sure what's her. Okay, so we don't have the noms yet.
No, they haven't come out yet. There's a lot of, a lot of conversation around if it'll be similar to the Globes. The Globe nominations for her category were Lily Gladstone, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Annette Bening for Nyad. Sorry, Greta Lee for Past Lives, and Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla. I've seen remarkably few of those. Have you seen Maestro?
I watched Maestro, yeah.
And?
Interesting.
There are a lot of movies I got to get around to. I got to get around to Saltburn as well. I just need to see it. Too many people are talking about it.
Bronson messaged. He's like, yeah, you got to see it. You got to watch it. And I'm like, is it like, having a laugh watch, or like, is there just, and
what did he say?
I don't think I got an answer. I'll just watch it. I'm like, okay.
Sam Morril.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he did. I saw him in the summer, and he's a big movie guy, and on his podcast, and he kind of wrote like a series of tweets with some strong opinions on Saltburn. I was like, fuck, like I wish I didn't see that. I don't want it to influence how I look at it.
Did you see Emerald Fennell's previous movie, Promising Young Woman?
No, I've had it sitting ready to go on my watch list for so long. I know
also very controversial,
a couple people wanted me to see that. Did you see it?
No, same thing. I remember at the time.
I don't have a good reason.
Every pre-Oscar, like the list comes out, I make the playlist. I send the top 10 pictures till the end. I'm like, all right, we got to watch 6 of these. And Promising Young Woman did not make the wash, but I don't know. It's like a good movie. Like I think it won original screenplay the year it came out.
A couple of these are gonna replay at the local theaters. We should try and catch before the Oscars. Maybe we should do a party. Remember we did that Oscars party that one year?
Yes.
I think
that was fun.
Is the problem that
was Mad Max year?
Well, no, that's not what I was gonna say. Yes, it was, but historically, the Globes are on a Sunday. It would be great if they could do this on a weekend.
Yeah, it makes no sense why they're not doing it on a Saturday every year. Like, really,
March.
I'll take a Monday off. Do an Oscars party with you? For sure. I'll take a Monday off.
March 10th. Yeah, it's a Sunday. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we figure something out. But, yeah, we should, we should commit to it if we can, make some headway and watch a lot of the noms, whenever the noms come out. The noms are coming out in, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah. So, 2.5 months. Or no, not even, actually. It'll be less than 2 months.
What we should do is just a online hangout.
Yeah, we could do that.
Watch it on browser, hang out on mic, camera.
Remember we were talking about that the other day? It's are there not sharing? Yeah, Prime. Actually, Prime might have the Oscars. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will. Did you hear that they're rolling out an ad thing on Prime, by the way?
You literally just read my mind. I got the email a couple days ago. I was pretty cheesed about that.
Pretty lame.
$3 more.
$3 more to watch it without ads. It's like, aren't I already paying you?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? This doesn't faze me all that much because their shows are so few and far between.
Yeah.
And like the only thing,
and you're probably paying for Prime anyway. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Yeah, like I'm not.
And they know
I'm not gonna get that's all part of it, but I'm not gonna give you guys an extra $3. But like all I'm watching there is like Reacher, and like that is just a commercial. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like the 2 minutes is not gonna kill me every half hour.
I still haven't touched that.
It's you keep asking me like is it like Dave TV, and like I don't know, but it's Dad TV like to like the peak. Like my in-laws are like fucking like how do we get access to Reacher?
That's funny.
It's like, but no, I don't know. It's like I always tell you like the bit of, and they do it like every like 3 or 4 times every episode because he's like a 6'5" gorilla.
Right. Yeah,
and they do it every episode multiple times. In both seasons of like the bit of like, oh, you're a big fucking dude, and like I laugh every time. It's cheesy and so well done every single time.
Nothing wrong
so
with
like that. It's more than just to shut your brain off and watch TV.
Yeah.
It's just above that. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll probably get around to watching that. Yo, did you see the trailer for Alex Garland's new movie?
Fucking Civil War, dude. I'm so excited.
It's
90-minute runtime. Did you see that?
Oh my god! Thank God.
Super short.
Give me another more watchable movies, or no, more movies with manageable runtimes is what I should say.
Not everything needs to be 3 hours and 20 minutes.
And also, I gotta say, I was not in until I saw he was directing. Like I was like, I don't know if I want a Civil War movie that is like eerily close to where our society is at right now. Sure. And then I was like, oh wait, but if Alex Garland made it, I think I'm kind of down.
Did you
And then I saw that what's his face is in it.
Oh, Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that line delivery.
Lifetime passes for him.
When he says, "Okay, what kind of American are you?" I'm like, oh, let's go. We're back in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I know which side you're on.
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah. God, he's frightening.
Yeah, he's so good.
But yeah, I'll probably see that.
He was great in Killers. I think that's my biggest gripe with Killers of the Flower. My only gripe with Killers of the Flower Moon was like, I want more Plemons. Like, 30 minutes earlier. That's all.
Well, I told you that movie was originally based on that character with Leo starring. Eh? Great swap though. Like, yeah.
You see a big casting announcement for The Last of Us Season 2?
Yes, but I don't know who the actor is or who the character is.
Caitlin, I think her name's Caitlin Deaver.
Yeah.
She's been around. Like I've seen her in things. She like, child actress. And,
yeah.
So she's going to be playing the role of Abby,
and that's an important character.
Very important character. I advise. I saw this on Reddit. I also feel the same. She should just get off social media now.
Oh, because it's a controversial character, maybe.
Everything, like 82% of like the controversy with The Last of Us Part 2 when it came out was revolved around Abby.
Oh, okay.
And it just and like one other character, again, it was all like fucking, I've told you this over and over. I think it's some of the stupidest internet gamer outcry ever. It's very, very
I remember at the time.
But it's interesting because because like when they cast, I'm blanking on her name now, but who they cast for Ellie. Do you remember her name? The actress's name? The Mormont girl.
No, I know. I can't.
We're just gonna call her Ellie. But like when they cast her, I was like, oh, like I see what they're going for. But even then, like it was
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey. It wasn't like a 1-to-1, but it was like pretty close. It was like perfect. Caitlin Deaver as Abby. Like I can picture it in the face, but like there's a
she has a physicality. Yeah.
There's a very, very physical performance in Abby. Huh. And
she should have that Warner Brothers money. Get her in the gym.
I'm wondering if she's just like gonna roid up and like get huge and swole. Like
that. That's a documentary that has to happen, and like soon is the app, because I am 200% confident it exists. Is the studio sponsored PED program of like you're a Marvel superstar. We got to get you on the what's the guy that was in Eternals there? The HGH face.
Oh, Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, we got to get you on the, like, it absolutely exists. There are go-to trainers that all these people go to, nutritionists, dietitians, but let's not like get it twisted. There's also someone with a lab coat being like, and also like 200 milligrams of HGH, TRT, Tren.
Should we cut this out of the pod and make this movie ourselves?
No, we need someone with. I want someone who's got fucking bodies. Like, I want someone in LA to spill the beans who like has seen it. You know what I mean? I don't want like us speculating. I need like a definitive someone with like a pedigree.
We find the guy.
Oh, right. Like
we become documentarians.
Yeah, we need the Hollywood version of Icarus, the documentary about like state-sponsored doping in Russia, because it is real, and like we're supposedly in this like body positivity like era. And, like, it's still absurd that we're having people, like, everyone in any kind of in any one of these movies is roided up to the gills and, like, doing water cuts when they have to be on screen without their shirt off. And, like, we're all like, oh, no, I'm pretty sure he just does a lot of crunches.
It's funny, because, like, Reacher, Alan Richardson, he had an interview a couple weeks ago, and he was just straight up candid, like, I hurt myself on season 1, I couldn't keep it up, so I got a little help this season. And he is, like...
Dude, he's so big.
Dave, I'm telling you, the bit every time makes.
But it would be so. That's I appreciate like his candor, and I think we need a lot more of that. But that's like another reason why it's preposterous to have like a guy like the fucking The Rock, walking around, 20 years removed from his physical prime, yet still getting bigger.
Yeah.
And been like, no, it's Zoa, it's the energy drink that I own. This is really it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Shut up. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. So that's that. Fuck. What? It's kind of a bit Warner Brothers adjacent. You hear Tom Cruise penned a franchise deal with them.
Big time.
Very curious to see
original projects.
Which his production company will have space on the Warner Brothers lot. Like, it's when they say the word franchise, like they're greenlighting likely several projects together. I'm wondering.
I would imagine big picture.
He is Tom Cruise,
but that's his thing, right? Like he goes from He tried. Well, funny enough, again, third time's a charm. There, like he tried to get the original Jack Reacher off the ground. Those films, which is laughable, like a 5'4" man, like playing Jack Reacher.
I know.
But,
yeah,
I love you, Tom.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I love Tom.
Fuck Tom. I'm kidding. I'm just thinking of Scientology.
Like I don't that stuff. I don't care, but I like his movies.
Yeah. You think he stars in every single one, or do you think like in the age he's getting to with the head trauma and just the use on his body, do you think he starts to direct?
No.
No? You think he's running the ship into the ground like until the tires come off?
They will CG like the walking blood bag.
Right. Out of the movie.
Yeah. He'll outrun Clint Eastwood, I think.
Fuck. As starring? As an actor?
Yeah, I think he'll go farther. Hours logged.
That's pretty crazy.
I don't know. Clint Eastwood makes a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It's man, I woke up to some pretty good news today there, Dave.
What?
Dorohido's getting a second season.
Yeah, you said that at 6:30 a.m. with all caps, and I was like, I know you're excited. I've not seen a minute of this fucking show, and I was like, yeah, I mean, dope, I guess. It's like me sending you a fight card, like, can you believe they made this matchup?
I read it every time.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you.
That's nice, Steve.
I'm glad you're glad.
Yeah,
is this a Netflix thing?
So it's interesting. All their socials, like the official Dorohedoro social accounts, have stripped all the Mappa tags.
Okay.
Because they made the first season.
Yeah, and it was and I know you liked it, but it was pretty heavily CG'd, right?
It was like early days of like the Studio Orange stuff there, like they try to like kind of what they were trying to do or what they did in Trigun Stampede. You saw early versions of that in this, but and like I said, there was like a lot of background stuff, but very because the show was so gonzo, it kind of weirdly fit. Yeah, and it's not making an excuse, but I genuinely thought that. But so the Mappa stuff has kind of been stripped, and then they have more or less said like this will be released as a streaming product. It won't have a broadcast. And I think there's I was just reading online, seems to be concerns of like the content. They don't know how to make it and get past the broadcasters. in Japan.
Interesting.
Because it's so violent.
Right.
And gory and you know. So it's, but again, they haven't said who. It was on Netflix, the first season originally. So it could be made, straight to Crunchyroll. Most likely Netflix, again, would be my guess. But the Mappa stuff being stripped is interesting.
That is interesting. And to your point about, like, they're having difficulties about content moderation and stuff in Japan, is one thing that I read, just a passing comment was like, oh, I bet Chainsaw Man will have an easier time with this upcoming arc being a movie because they won't have to censor nearly as much because it could probably just market it as a rated whatever movie and not have to worry about that kind of stuff. That is one of the shows that is kind of out there as far as
they'd have to
content
have some
goes.
stuff for sure.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I recently, I don't want to say I rewatched it. I recently watched some reactors watch to Chainsaw Man, and I was like, "Fuck!" I kind of forgot. Like, this was a banger show.
It was awesome. It was amazing.
For all the the eyeballs on it, and people can be very critical, right, when something has that much hype. But yeah, that really, really hit for me. Yeah. I don't think I've got... Oh, okay, there is one other thing I forgot to tell you, which is actually relevant. Well, there's two, but I think I know the answer to the first one. Number one, have you finished Pluto?
No.
I finished it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes. But will you finish it?
Yes.
In the fullness of time?
Should I?
Yeah, I think so.
I like, not that I
it's the episode
gassed
length.
out on it.
It's the episode
It's
length.
the episode length. And also, yeah.
I'm not going to get into that right now, but I will say the final two episodes are where it really picks up. And yeah, man, that episode
last one I watched was 5.
Yeah, okay, so you got 3 more.
Is it 8 or 2?
Yeah, 8.
Okay.
That episode length hurt them. Like, it's not ideal. It's really not. But
that's the thing. I anytime I read anything about it, it's never brought up. I feel like you and I are, like, in a vacuum. The only two are just like, that was pretty long.
I know. I think it's because it went to Netflix, and it, like, on Netflix, like, they don't do weekly animated show. Like, it would be a bigger deal if they put this out on Crunchyroll, and everyone would be like, "Whoa, can you imagine?" Everything else here is 22 minutes.
Every week I got to put all this time aside for.
So
one
they would have stuck out like a sore thumb on Crunchyroll, but on Netflix it's like this whole big thing. Anyway, we'll talk about it when you're done. But the other thing I did watch is I caught the pilot of Solo Leveling.
As did I.
No way. Okay.
Yeah.
So I only watched it because I saw that it was apparently a big deal, and I was like, just based off the name, like, it's not really up my alley. But I was like, fuck it. I never watched these things. I will try. So, what did you think?
Didn't do much for me.
No,
to be honest. Well, there's a couple things, but you how do you feel?
I surprisingly liked it. I think these shows are a slippery slope between because it feels like there's a lot of shows like this out there.
Yeah.
And you're very familiar with them, and I'm very not. I'm gonna pay myself a self-serving compliment and say, like, I only watch the really good ones, being Moshuko and Frieren, and, like, they're both really high, I think. But this is pretty far away removed from Frieren.
Fantasy wise, you mean?
Yeah, fantasy. I don't watch fantasy anime.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I have, like, it's so I was talking to Joey on the phone today, and I was trying to explain it to him, and, like, I sound like a crazy person. There's, like, a very like a low budge fantasy, like, isekai look that, like, 150 shows have.
Yeah.
They all have this look. Whether it's like Danmachi or, like, even which one that I like is The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Like, the story, and it's silly and it's goofy, and, like, there's just, like, this very sharp, almost rectangular look to it sometimes. Yeah. And, like, I don't know. There's a thing about, like, there's always like a metal chest plate as if that's armor. It's just like a single piece, and, like, it's like very, like, low budge fantasy, and
right.
But, like, I know the show has got the smoke. Like, people have been talking about this manga for years. And they have said the art and the action is where it is. The story is literally nothing to cry. It's the most, it's been done, but, like...
Oh, that's what you've heard about this?
I think, yeah, that's like what the show is known for.
Gotcha.
Like, just, again, the fighting and the art. And I was just kind of surprised, like, this is the show that you have to come out swinging,
right.
telling me why. And I was like, this was one of the most boring episodes of anime I've watched. Like, jumping into 2023, it was just boring. Like, it didn't do anything for me.
It's funny. We're coming at it from different angles because I don't ever watch shit like this. I only watch it because it's supposed to be a heavy hitter. So I was like, so this was, a lot of it was new to me. I was like, okay, well, I know there's a lot of this out there, but I haven't watched it. Mm-hmm. So I liked the setup. I'll watch episode 2. That's all I'm really committing to. I think it's only scheduled for like 12 episodes this first quarter, right? So another 1 or 2 won't hurt me, but I would say I'm cautiously optimistic. I also filmed a little TikTok on it. Just curious about like what people are thinking. So I'll put that probably up on our Instagram and our TikTok, where you can find us at Part-Time Otaku Podcast. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep my eye on it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it till I see that first, like, oh, this is what they're talking about. Yeah. And then if even at that moment it doesn't do it for me. Then...
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. We have to go over this. And we could probably close on this. Abenak, number 1 fan, sent in her top 5.
No shit.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Shouts out.
What do you got? Let's hit it up. Top 5?
Top 5, and she included in some of them she included some top 5 moments.
Oh, okay.
And
any honorable mentions?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty lengthy. I think she put some time into this, so we should do her the justice of going through it. And I'll also note, very similar to both of us. Top 5 moments. Okay, I'll start from the bottom.
All right.
Number 5, Attack on Titan.
Word.
Favorite moments, similar to us. Mikasa at Aaron's grave, Levi's squad jumping off the boat, flying boat. Hanji's last stand, Mikasa, Levi, everyone working together.
Hanji's last stand, fuck.
I know. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, number 4. She says in her favorite moments, any Mahito scene.
Wow.
Toji, Megami fight, Geto and Gojo meeting.
It was funny, just to jump in, I had sent you a clip this week. I forgot how wild that Mekamaru versus Mahito fight was.
The whole season, man.
It's, unreal.
And did you see that thing? You shared it. You either gave it to me and I put it on the Instagram. I don't know, but all the mashup of all the references to other anime, that might have been the Mekamaru, like, where
That's where I'd seen it. Yeah, a lot of Gurren Lagann stuff in there, too. I've never watched that show, and I think mine
me neither. That out. In number 3, she's got Frieren.
Yeah.
Favorite moment, episode 9, which is where the Himmel kind of, air quote, proposing to Frieren.
Oh.
Good moment.
That is a good moment.
Number 2, Oshinoko.
Word.
GIF performance at the end of episode 6. JIF.
Get it.
And number 1, Vinland Saga Season 2, all of episode 23. I think episode 23 is the I Have No Enemies episode.
Mm-hmm.
Very honorable mention is The Dangers in My Heart.
Abenak, you're a real one. That show...
I don't know what that is.
It was one of my favorites last year. Rom-com.
She says, if not for AOT, this would have been her number 5.
Fucking A. Right on.
Other honorable mentions, Apothecary Diaries, Buddy Daddies, Tomo-chan, Heavenly Delusions on 100. So we've got a lot in common. She's seen a lot of good stuff.
Apothecary Diaries, that was the one. I got like 3 episodes, and
I never even touched it.
It's good. It's like set in like a certain period in like ancient China.
Yeah.
And this girl's kind of drafted. She works for like a medicine seller, or her like a doctor, I guess, or like anyways. And she gets like brought into like a concubine area of the palace, and she works as like an aide to like the guy that runs the concubines, like I guess essentially the pimp. But it was a weird show, but like really getting people like are losing their mind over it. And I was like, another one. I was like, shit, like I got so much stuff to watch. I don't know, it hasn't hit yet, but it's on like top 3 on everyone's list. It's crazy.
And the reel on Instagram that Vivian put up, people are liking that thing all the time, right? Like it's clearly a big show.
Yeah, it's huge.
I gotta get around and check it out.
It's beautiful.
I'll end on this. Her letdown anime of the year, Hell's Paradise. That's how you know she is a real one.
Yeah. Like a 3rd seat out. Holy cow.
Yeah, no shit. Wild.
That was a letdown. We didn't talk about that once in the year-end pod.
No, we didn't. It's because I had a whole disappointment / letdown section that we didn't go, because I didn't want to be negative, but I've got it right here. Let me just say it real quick, because it's a different pod. Yeah. I've got Hell's Paradise,
Yeah.
Tokyo Revengers Season 2,
Yeah.
To Your
One episode.
Eternity Season 2, like,
Yeah.
huge. And then I just have the Zom 100 schedule. And you know what? That seems fair to me.
That is fair.
All right, dude. What do you think? Should we wrap her up?
Well, thank you, Avanak, for sending that in. That's a really good list. Fuck, that's so
That is a
funny.
great list.
Dude,
You have
that was a really good show.
excellent taste in anime and better taste in podcasts, if I
Damn
do
right.
say so myself. But yeah, good pod, buddy.
Yeah.
This is fun. If you guys can't tell, we're playing a little bit with the format. We're trying to, loosen it up a little bit, and I think we had a lot of fun this episode. So
I do too. Yeah.
more messing around to come.
We got the cameras on, staring at each other, our beautiful eyes.
Yeah. Well, video is probably coming soon. We're going to keep messing around. Lots of changes coming, but it's all exciting. So thank you again for listening. We're going to keep coming around here. Probably weekly episodes are here to stay. Yeah, I don't know. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok, and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music. We are Part-Time Otaku Podcast everywhere. I think that's about it. Grant, you may go ahead and say the thing.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.